Let me quickly walk you through a few major events that happened this month. You definitely need to hear this. Whether you're a salaried worker, someone preparing to buy a house, or already a landlord, the first big thing is this. First, the barbecue bank was sold. And then, in the past 2 weeks, CBA Bank announced that it would tighten its unlimited loan policy. If you're wondering what unlimited loans are and why some people can legally get unlimited loans in Australia, you can refer to my video on this topic, which has been watched by tens of thousands. First of all, I'm not surprised that they're tightening things up. Otherwise, if everyone could legally get unlimited loans, that would really defy common sense. But if you ask me whether it's still possible to get around this and continue with unlimited loans, the answer is yes. You just have 2 fewer banks to choose from. Now let's look at the root of the issue. Why have 2 banks in a row tightened this policy? Before I share my thoughts on this, let me give you a real signal from the market, specifically from owner-occupier buyers in Melbourne, Australia. There's been a sharp increase again, which is related to policy, specifically the 5% down payment. In these 2 cities, owner-occupier buyers are returning to the market, and their purchasing power is definitely stronger than that of investors. Why? Just ask any broker how many of their clients are owner-occupiers. The proportion easily exceeds 50%, and it's basically around 70 to 80%. For example, when we say that the average owner-occupancy rate in a district or city is 70%, that means 70% of buyers are owner-occupiers, and only 30% are landlords who are investors. When owner-occupier buyers rise up and start entering the market on a large scale again, you can actually sense that the bank's focus is beginning to shift. If you look at these 2 things together, since I'm in Melbourne, and we're most familiar with this city, I'm also familiar with other cities, but not as much as Melbourne, our whole team is out there every day, attending auctions every Saturday, and we have direct first-hand contact with the market. So right now in Melbourne, it's a market for owner-occupiers. Investors are still hesitant. You can find them in some of the cheaper areas, but for properties over $1 million, basically all the buyers at auctions are owner-occupiers. Properties around the 1 million mark are all being bought by owner-occupiers. So don't think that just because these 2 banks have tightened their lending policies, it means that property prices will be suppressed. You need to understand why these 2 banks are tightening their policies. It's actually to better screen their clients, but that's a side note. In the next 2 years, Melbourne's market will still be dominated by owner-occupiers, and move-in-ready homes, good properties, will definitely receive better offers. The second piece of news is that inflation remains stubbornly high. You can see that in October and November, there still hasn't been an interest rate cut across Australia. We're still in a high interest rate environment. In fact, 2 of the big 4 banks have even raised certain fixed rates for the future. As for the banks, they're actually wavering right now, and the RBA is also uncertain because inflation is still relatively high and hasn't been curbed the way they had hoped, so they can't start cutting rates yet. This is quite unusual. Why is that? If you look back at the history of Australia and New Zealand, Australia's interest rates have always followed New Zealand's. Typically, New Zealand cuts rates 6 to 12 months before Australia does, and then Australia follows suit 6 to 12 months later. But this time, they've decoupled. This is a very interesting observation, and I don't think there's any need to worry. Australia will still end up raising rates. This is a general trend